Alright guys, it is that time. It is the breakdown, preview, and prediction for Mario Barrios versus Ryan Garcia for the WBC welterweight strap. If you are new to the channel, please do like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave all your thoughts in the comments below. I want to know down below who you think is going to win and why. For me, I am predicting a knockout. I'm going to let you know at the end of the video who I think is going to win via knockout. But first, we're going to break down the two fighters, talk about what they do well, what they do not so well, and why that's going to make or break each fighter. You know, I've got a lot of talking points written down here that I do want to discuss in talking about this fight because, you know, Ryan Garcia over the past 12 to 18 months has done nothing to earn a title shot. But with the WBC, you never really know what you're going to get. Saying all that, Mario Barrios, although he's still the world champion, he hasn't really had the greatest run either. I mean, his last two title defenses have both ended in draws and contentious draws. For me, I think the Abel Ramos one was a little bit more to Mario Barrios' side. Whereas the Manny Pacquiao one, I actually sided more with Manny Pacquiao. I thought he did the better work and deserved the win. So Mario Barrios can count himself probably very lucky to escape those two fights with two draws. And coming into this fight, it is a 50-50 at best. I don't see it really going one way more than the other. I think it is so close because their styles will mesh up well. And both fighters, I mean, you just don't know what you're going to expect from either. All right, more so from Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia is a bit of an anomaly. It depends whether he's motivated or not, and that's something we're going to talk about in this video. But Mario Barrios, I mean, he's somebody that I've been watching, and in all the film study that I've done, one thing that I keep seeing about Mario Barrios is strong starts, good finishes, but just nothing in the middle. I feel like he falls asleep in the middle of these fights, and that's danger signs when coming up against Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia is somebody that can finish plenty of opponents in the middle round, so we're going to get to all that. The first thing I want to talk about, though, is Joe Gushchin. Now, Joe Gushchin, I think he's going to be a pivotal role in this fight, and I think it can work very, very well for Mario Barrios, but I think it can also go very badly for Mario Barrios, and we're going to get to that. But Joe Gushchin, just to give you some background, he's training Mario Barrios for this fight. In history, Joe Gushchin trained Ryan Garcia for 3 fights: the Tego fight, the Fortuna fight, and the Tank fight in 2022 and 2023. 2 wins and a loss there. And in the lead up to this fight, Ryan Garcia has been very emotional when talking about Joe Gushchin, naming him a traitor and so forth. And Mario Barrios, he's obviously picked a trainer here who knows the ins and outs of Ryan Garcia. He knows everything he does well and every flaw he has. And they're going to work to try and expose those flaws on fight nights. And that could work very much to Mario Barrios' benefit if they can work in together. Joe Gushchin will know everything there is to know about Ryan Garcia. All right, so Mario Barrios has got all of that inside knowledge working for him in this camp. He's going to know, how to counter him, what to expect, what are his flaws? Can he not take body shots? Can he not take a left hook to the liver? What is Ryan Garcia's worst attributes? Because Joe Gushchin's going to know everything there is to know about Ryan Garcia. On the other hand, if there's one thing that we're going to talk about in this fight a lot about Ryan Garcia is his motivation. Ryan Garcia motivated is a completely different fighter to the Ryan Garcia that just doesn't care. He's there for a payday, and whatever the outcome is whatever the outcome is. And by having Joe Gushchin in your corner, you're also bringing out that emotion out of Ryan Garcia, and that could play a pivotal role in his motivation in this fight. It could give Ryan Garcia something to fight for, and if there's something you don't want to do is give Ryan Garcia something to fight for. So I think he's going to play a beneficial role for Mario Barrios in terms of just stylistically boxing, but in terms of motivation in this fight, it's going to give Ryan Garcia something there to fight for. Now, I've got some worries about Mario Barrios. Obviously, his last 2 results, a draw against Abel Ramos and a draw against Manny Pacquiao. Now, these aren't great results. If you look at Mario Barrios' record up until now, all these big fights, apart from probably UGAS, that he's been in, he has come out, not the victor, either a draw or a loss. I'm talking Keith Thurman, I'm talking Tank Davis, I'm talking the 2 Manny Pacquiao and Abel Ramos fights. Now, Abel Ramos, up until that point, I mean, he wasn't doing anything spectacular or groundbreaking. Mario Barrios was supposed to go in there and beat him, and arguably he did beat him, arguably he lost. Depends on what side of the coin you're on. But the fact is, in that fight, he gets a draw, and he gets dropped in the 6th round to Abel Ramos to a great right hand. And for Mario Barrios, something that I worry about for him is, I think he's a great starter. I think the first 2 or 3 rounds you can bank on Mario Barrios getting. He just looks quicker, he looks sharper, he looks electric in those opening rounds. But then there's this drop-off in the middle stages of the fight and where he falls asleep. He then sort of comes alive at the later part of the fight occasionally, but you can almost bank on him falling asleep in the middle of the fight. And why that's worrying for me is because Ryan Garcia is so good in the middle to late rounds. I mean, we saw it against Devin Haney, the 3 drops, round 7, round 10, and round 11. We saw it stopping Campbell. We saw it dropping Fortuna in the middle rounds. So even dropping Oscar Duarte in the middle rounds. So for Mario Barrios, I think the middle stages of this fight and his conditioning is going to play a huge role in this fight because he can't switch off, all right? But on the same note, Ryan Garcia, he's a slow starter. Now, Ryan Garcia, we saw it against Rolly Romero in his last fight. All right, that drop early in the fight. Rolly Romero just landing a clean overhand left. Mario Barrios is a great starter, all right? And he showed that against Abel Ramos. He dropped him very, very quickly. So, and you know what? That drop against Abel Ramos was a counter to a left hook. And we know how much Ryan Garcia loves a left hook. So, for Mario Barrios, I think the key to him is just staying concentrated, all right? I have no doubts that Mario Barrios has the technical ability to outbox Ryan Garcia over the course of 12 rounds, all right? Yeah, he'll lose a round here and there, but that's boxing. The fact is, I think Mario Barrios has enough in his kit bag to be able to deal with Ryan Garcia and outbox him, but it all comes down to concentration and conditioning because he can't fall asleep in those middle rounds. At the same time, Ryan Garcia can't be a slow starter like he has been in his recent fights. Even against Devin Haney, like, don't forget, up until that first sort of drop, Devin Haney was all over Ryan Garcia in the lead up to that. And even if you go to those scorecards at the end, people make out that Ryan Garcia on roids dismantled Devin Haney and it wasn't even close. We're talking about 3 drops in that fight and still a very, very close decision. So for Ryan Garcia, not a lot of activity. He really relies on that one big shot. If Mario Barrios can stay concentrated, keep his conditioning up and outbox him over the course of 12 rounds, it should be quite a good night for Mario Barrios. The worry for me is we just haven't seen it. Even against Manny Pacquiao, we're talking about a 40-something-year-old Manny Pacquiao here. All right, you should be able to outcondition him. You should be able to outwork him. And Mario Barrios is huge compared to Manny Pacquiao. He's going to be big against Ryan Garcia. You've got to show that conditioning. And whether that size and the weight cut impacts his conditioning, and that's what we're seeing the drop-off for. Because, I mean, you look at Mario Barrios, he is a big, big welterweight. We saw it with Jerome Brutenis, how much he struggled at times at welterweight. You see the changes when he's going to go up to super welterweight. Is that something that is affecting Mario Barrios? And as he gets older, that weight cut's going to get harder and harder. I mean, you look at how big he is. I don't know how he was making super lightweight at one point, but Ryan Garcia, he's going to have opportunities in this fight in those middle rounds to land that left hook. All right? But the one thing I do want to see from Ryan Garcia that we didn't see against Rolly Romero is use that right hand. That right hand was just not utilized at all in that fight. And you know, that's fine if you're not going to utilize it, if that's your jabbing hand. Like, we're talking, his right hand is his power hand. He jabs off his left hand. He hooks with his left hand. This right hand was just at home the whole entire night. And he doesn't even throw it out there to feint or to set up a big shot with his left. He just leaves it at home. And when you do that, you allow yourself to be so one-dimensional and be found out because your opponent's going to move one way. Your opponent's going to throw the same punches over and over because guess what? He doesn't have to really worry about what's coming out of that right hand. And like I said, we saw Mario Barrios counter the left hook from Abel Ramos and drop him early in that fight. So they are some worries for both fighters. But for Ryan Garcia, what I will say about him is if he can work that right hand, there is going to be so many opportunities to hit Mario Barrios. He's not a hard opponent to hit. We saw Abel Ramos hit him with a flush right hand in that fight. And that's why I think Ryan Garcia really needs to utilize that punch. Even Manny Pacquiao was able to be crafty enough, get on the inside, and land great combinations and big punches on him. There's no reason Ryan Garcia, with his speed, with his countering ability, Mario Barrios is going to be constantly on the front foot, trying to jab, trying to throw combinations. There's going to be so many opportunities for Ryan Garcia to counter with that left hook. But I think he's got to utilize that right hand or else he's going to be so one-dimensional in the fight and he's going to be readable continuously and he's likely to get countered off that left hook if that right hand isn't being worked. Now, if we take a deep dive into these fighters, like Mario Barrios has so much more work at welterweight. I mean, I think he's got 5 fights at welterweight. Ugas, Santiago, Maidana, Abel Ramos, and Manny Pacquiao. They're his 5 fights. Ryan Garcia, I mean, he's got the fight against Rolly Romero. That is his one welterweight fight. And I think that's going to play a big role in this contest because Ryan Garcia is already coming into this fight the undersized fighter. You look at them in a face-off. Obviously, we haven't seen them weigh in and everything else yet. but there's a definite height advantage and size advantage for Mario Barrios, and I expect that to be there on fight night. Ryan Garcia, though, is in the best shape of his life. You look at some of his training pictures, he is in the best shape of his life. He's looking the biggest he's ever going to do, and that could, in turn, actually boost Ryan Garcia's performance. It could boost his power and, be the pivotal point in this fight. But Mario Barrios is going to come into this fight the bigger puncher, the bigger sized fighter. And I think one of these things that Mario Barrios needs to do in this fight is actually work to the body. I think he's got some great body shots, and working with Ryan Garcia, who could be untested at this weight, he could not be able to survive this power. You work into the body is going to quickly find out whether he can take the power or not. We saw that with Canelo versus Terence Crawford. Canelo tried to rip to the body thinking, well, he's very undersized for a super middleweighter. If there's going to be a flaw, it's going to be in the body. If there's a weight problem, it's going to be in the body. And I think Mario Barrios can look at that and do the same thing, because Mario Barrios has got great body shots, either the left jab or the body shots in general. So I think if Mario Barrios can try and use his size, utilize this weight change for Ryan Garcia, it could be very beneficial for Mario Barrios. The problem for me is we just haven't seen it. We didn't see him utilize that body work that much against Manny Pacquiao. There's some good parts of it, but I want to see a bit more consistency, because when you're up against a mover like Manny Pacquiao, I expected a little bit more. Ryan Garcia is also going to be a bit of a mover in there. I don't expect him to stand just in front of Mario Barrios all night. I expect Ryan Garcia to be more on the back foot and more moving around the ring, trying to find those counter shots. So I think working to the body, being able to stop that movement and get Ryan Garcia in front of you to work those combinations will be very beneficial for Mario Barrios, but we just got to see it in action. All right, let's make our prediction now. I said at the start that I think there's going to be a KO victory, and I do believe that's going to happen. And for me, it's going to be to Ryan Garcia. And the reason I think it's going to be to Ryan Garcia is, although Mario Barrios does such good work in the early rounds, I think him falling asleep in the middle and Ryan Garcia's activity in the middle rounds and his power, the move up to welterweight, I think that left hook's going to get stronger. I expect him to use that right hand. Mario Barrios trying to throw those combinations and lead with that right jab. I can see that left hook coming over the top, catching Mario Barrios in the middle rounds when he's fallen asleep. And Abel Ramos wasn't able to close the show in that 6th round, but I expect Ryan Garcia to be able to close the show. And I'm predicting a round 7 knockout victory for Ryan Garcia. All right, guys, let me know in the comments below who you think is going to win. Why do you think they're going to win it? I will probably try and make another video later this week to predict the whole entire card. I kind of want to make it after I've seen the face-offs and the weigh-in, so we'll see how we go. If you are new, though, do subscribe to the channel, like this video if you did enjoy it, and leave all your thoughts in the comments below. I'm out of here, guys. See ya!